Okay, welcome to the April 4th team call for the Beauty for Ashes Society. I am Lisa Sears, and I'm going to be talking to you tonight about self-doubt. It's something that I think everybody struggles with. It's not, I think they're liars if they say they don't struggle with it. Because especially when you're in coaching and you see what everybody else is doing constantly, it's easy to struggle with something like that. I know I have in the past. I want to share a few of my experiences and share some tips and things that I've learned over the years. And then Josh dropped a few nuggets of inspiration in as well today on my car ride home from Oklahoma. So let me go ahead and share my screen if I can figure out why I can't show my screen. There it is. Let's see. I think when I just showed this, it shows bigger. Hopefully. Can you all see my screen? Is it really tiny, or can you see it pretty good? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Thumbs up. Okay, good. Okay, so we're going to be talking about overcoming self-doubt. The only thing that holds you back is you, because it's true. No, sir. I'm doing a team call. I'm working. It's time for you to go over by Daddy now, or you can go to bed.
Hello.
They took a late nap in the car, so they're a little crazy right now and don't want to go to sleep. Usually they're in bed by now. Josh, seriously, they have to go. Okay, a few announcements. If you, I don't know, haven't paid attention to the team page and you weren't at Super Saturday, they have announced a fourth vital behavior. So to recap, first vital behavior is be proof the products work. That's doing your workout, drinking your Shaco, using the products and showing that they actually work. The second vital behavior, there it goes, sorry, is, there we go, invite. That's inviting others to join you, being consistent with your posts, those kind of things. The third one is personal development, listening to or reading either 10 minutes or 10 pages of a book each day. And then to work on yourself as a person. And now the fourth one is recognition. Everybody loves it when they get recognized. That's part of the reason why Beachbody always has the t-shirts and the different things as fun freebies when people finish a program, because that's a fun recognition. Like, hey, I finished a program, so I get this cool shirt. Not this one. This is a mission shirt. But it's fun to be recognized. Coaches, when they rank advance, you know, you love to be recognized, and I love to recognize my coaches as well. Like, it's kind of cool watching those that are coming up underneath you rise through the ranks as well. And so they saw that as being something that's really vital and a motivator for people. And so it is now the fourth vital behavior. So we have four vital behaviors: be proof the product works, invite, personal development, recognition. These are things we should be constantly doing and keeping at the forefront. Summit app is now available. I downloaded it today in the car. So if you haven't done it already, it's in the App Store, and what's the one for Android? Whatever that is, it's in there too. Let me see if I can show it to you. It looks like that. It's like blue and says Coach Summit. I just searched Coach Summit 2016, and it came up. So it's free. You download it. You can get all the tracks, all the information for what's going on with Summit, the speakers, the agendas, what trainers are going to be there. I was really excited because I wasn't sure if Shalene was going to be there, since she hasn't had a program come out in over a year now. Gosh, almost 2 years ago now. In the summer, it'll be 2 years. PIO launched in 2014 at Summit. So since she hasn't had one come out in like 2 years, I thought, oh my gosh, she's not going to be there, and I'm going to be super sad. But she is going to be there. So here coming up soon-ish, we'll be able to register for the different tracks, register for which workouts you want to go to, all of that stuff. It's a lot of fun. Okay, so there's two tracks. There's blue track and silver track. This year, the cool thing, last year, the speakers at the breakout workshops were different. So you chose your track based on who you wanted to hear speak. And they had great speakers on both sides. It was just like the top coaches who you wanted to hear the most from. This year, they're the exact same across both tracks. So it doesn't matter which track you go to, you're going to hear the exact same information given by the same people with the same experience. Like, it's going to be exactly the same. However, now it makes it a little bit more difficult because we all want to go and be together so that we can sit together. So we'll have to be going back in and figuring out which one we all want to sign up for, either blue or silver. Will we be getting an email again on registration day? I think. I haven't heard. They already said the registration dates, and they're in the team page under the pinned post. Oh, I don't think I did pin it. I'll go in and pin it after the team call. But it's under the updated calendar of events for this month for our team. Hotels, do you need the app? If you're going to Summit, you'll want the app. One, because you get really cool text updates of things that are going on. Like, they'll randomly text you and be like, hey, the Shakeology bar is open. So you know that's open. They'll text you with like different sales that are happening at the core, those kinds of things. And then they'll also like remind you, hey, or like last year they moved one of the celebration things back an hour. And so it was just like a great way to get the information out to everybody all at once, as we just kind of got like updates on our phones, little notifications would pop up. However, you don't have to have it. It's not like life or death. As long as you're around other coaches, they should be able to figure it out. Yeah, it's useful during the event, and then planning. That's where you'll get all your information for planning. So like it talks about requirements for the bags, which there's not a whole lot of requirements this year. Last year, there was a lot of confusion with that and stuff. The bags for stadiums, because usually they don't allow any bags in. Now they're allowing bags in. They're just going to check them. But like all those little details are going to be in there. The times for different events, all of that stuff will be in there. So it's a good thing to get and look at. You can put it on any tablet and you should be able to see all the information. I'm considering making team shirts. I think it would be really fun. So if you're interested, if you're going to Summit, FYI, you're right. If you're going to Summit, make sure you wear the bands to the stadium. They didn't tell us ahead of time last year, and a lot of us didn't wear them, and people were turned away at the gate, and I snuck in. So they give you bands at registration, put them on then, and just leave them on. Shower with them on, leave them on. It'll be fun. Team shirts, I'm considering making team shirts this year. I think it would be really fun for all of us to be in a workshop together, sitting together, wearing a team shirt. These would be at your own cost, though. So if you're interested, I can look into getting them made. I know they shouldn't be more than like $20. Maybe less depending on who we go with, but I want to go with the same shirts that Becca uses because I know they're quality shirts and they're super soft. So I can look into getting those made. Maybe Jen or somebody would help me design something really cool for our team. If you're interested, let me know because we need to have a minimum order number to be able to do it. So after going to Super Saturday, Saturday. Today's Monday. After going to Super Saturday a couple days ago, I realized that a lot of people aren't checking the coach team page. I have the team page there, and I put a crap ton of information in there because I want you guys to be in the know. If you are checking into your Coach Online office every day and you read everything from every other group, then you don't need to check in there. But I can guarantee you that you probably don't. So 1, check your Coach Online office. In the breaking news tab, and then 2, check out what I have going on, because this is stuff that comes directly from corporate that doesn't always go through all the proper channels and get down. So I've had people ask me a lot of questions that are already in the team page. So before you ask questions, there's a little search option in the team page up at the top above the members section. You can search in there for whatever you're looking for and see if you can find the information there. If not, I'm going to show you on my phone. I wish there was a way to like plug in my phone and be able to show you, because I feel like you guys can't see this very well. Okay, so then this bar up at the top where it talks about our group, you can actually tap there, and then it automatically says everywhere. You're going to want to tap over to where it says in this group right there. Okay, and then you can search it even on your phone. So it's super easy. Like, there's no reasons not to look in there, and then you can find your information. But definitely check in. I have lots of great info. Sometimes I run like special prizes and things that you can do, but you have to be looking in the team page to find it. I'm not going to hunt everybody down. Country Heat Live certification is going on at Summit. That's going to be on Wednesday. So Summit runs Thursday to late Saturday night. You'll leave Sunday morning. But on Wednesday, if you choose, you do not have to. There's live certification. This is for people that are interested in teaching live classes, and it just kind of legitimizes you a little bit. A bunch of my success partners, they're not teaching classes yet, but they all got certified in like PIO or SIZE or something. This year I'm getting certified in Country Heat, but there are a ton of different certifications. There's SIZE, there's PIO, there's Turbo Kick, there's Insanity, I think, is one of them, but there's a bunch of them. You have lots of options if you're interested in doing something like that. You can look up the information. I can send you the email. Just get a hold of me, let me know, or look it up yourself. But there's lots of certifications. They cost about $250 for the certification, all the materials, everything you need so that you can start teaching those classes. I think that's it. I just read your stuff, Stacy. Okay, so March Success Club, our team kind of killed it. It was awesome. I loved watching you guys. Like, even though I was gone, every time I jump back into my Coach Online office and check my downline, I could see everybody's Success Club number starting to jump up and up and up. And by the end of the month, they were like, I was like, oh my gosh, we only have like 3 people hitting Success Club. And then the end of the last week of the month, like everybody was like boom, 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 boom. So congrats to Danny, Rachel, and Sarah for hitting Success Club 10. That's awesome. You guys get Success Club leads. You get Shakeology leads. And so you're going to get lots of customer leads this month. Congratulations. For those hitting Success Club 5, Alicia, Jen Owens, Catherine, Anna, and Ashley, congratulations. You'll also get leads. They'll just be customer leads and not Success Club Shakeology leads. And then look how many people we had on the board. It was crazy, like a large number. I could not keep them all down here. I had to create a little column to the side. Okay, jumping right into the call now that it's like 8:20. Good grief. Okay. So self-doubt. What is it? I think we all know what self-doubt is, but it's the little negative talk. I was listening to a book, what's it called? Daring Greatly by Brene Brown. It's really incredible. But anyway, I was listening to her book, and one of the things she calls them are gremlins. I'm sure all of you guys have watched that movie from the 80s. I think it was the 80s, like late 80s, early 90s, of the little gremlins where like, oh, they're so cute and fluffy and beautiful when they don't touch water or eat after midnight. But then you do things that you're not supposed to do, and they turn into this hideous monsters, and like they're like, you know, like eating at you. And so she calls those negative voices, the things that we hear in our head, gremlins. And I kind of like that because it's true. It feels like there are like these like nasty little things that come out like when you're feeling your weakest, your downest, your most dark. And they just start telling you all the things that at the time you kind of want to hear, even though you don't really want to hear it, if that makes sense. So it's negative self-talk. It's things like saying, you can't do this. You'll never reach your goals. You're a failure, or you're a quitter. You're not a leader. You don't know what you're doing. No one respects you, and you're not doing it right. I'm sure all of us have had those thoughts come through our head before. There are also things like comparisons, which is super easy to do in our business. It's something that I struggle with all the time. It's easy for me to compare myself to my Success Club partner or my success partners because they're in the similar stage of business as me, and they they really succeed in certain areas that I feel my weakest, and I probably succeed in areas that they feel weak. But it's super easy because we came into the business at the same time. We're right around the same area. And so I wouldn't ever compare myself to like Erin. She's a brand new coach, you know? And so like, it's easy for me not to compare myself to her, but the people that are around us that, hold on, I got to turn this heat off from me. The people that are around us that are right there kind of level with us, or the ones that came in after us, it's really easy for us to start comparing ourselves to them as they start to succeed or do things that you're incapable or you feel inadequate in doing. So comparisons, like she's doing better than you and she's doing it faster. Ooh, doesn't that suck? Like when somebody just comes in and like they just became a coach and they're hitting like Success Club 20 and then the next month like Success Club 25 and you're like, oh, this just blows. Like what the heck? And then things like I should be further along by now because you're looking at everybody else around you. Or why can't I get any business builders? Like that person's recruiting like crazy. Why can't I get those business builders? But the thing with comparison is that you don't see all the junk or all the work that's happening in the background. You're only seeing the highlight reel, right? So what creates doubt? I think a lot of these kind of tie in together, but one of the biggest things, and I think it was probably in that Darren Greatly book as well. I can't remember. I've read a lot of books, but past hurt or perceived failure in the past. So things that happened in the past that were perceived to be failures or things that hurt you or made you feel bad. This breeds a lack of confidence. So like say, let's take a child, for instance. My son, he jumps, tries to jump off the couch and jump over some pillows. He misses it. He ends up like rolling off the pillow and he's really upset and like he just really wanted to do this somersault flip thing off the couch, right? But he missed it and he rolled onto the side and he gets his feelings hurt. And then it kind of gives him this like lack of confidence because he's kind of embarrassed that he had already done it and he talked it up and he's like, no, mom, watch me. I'm going to do it. Right. And then the next time he gets up there, he kind of like, have you ever watched your kids? Like they get up to the edge and they just kind of like second guess themselves right at the edge. They're like, wait, can I do it? Like, should I? Because all of a sudden they have this past experience to relate their now current situation to. So it breeds that fear of like, well, maybe I can't do it because I didn't do it that time. So maybe I should just be safe and not do it. I don't have this situation so much with Asher. He's my adventurous one. Like he just has no fear and like leaps and climbs things and does crazy stuff. But Kai is my more cautious one. He'll do something once and then if he didn't do well at it, I think it's kind of a firstborn thing, but if he didn't do well at it, he's going to sit there and think, well, like maybe not. And I've actually heard him say, no, I can't do it. And he'll just like step back. And it kind of makes me sad because I don't want him to start doing that, you know, at such a young age because of one experience, one situation, him say, no, you know, I can't do that. So let's relate this back to coaching. Say you put yourself out there, you showed a really vulnerable post. You shared like your heart, what's going on, and you're like, I can't believe I'm going to put this out for the world to see. You hit click, you close your laptop, you walk away, right? That's me at least, okay? Very first time I posted a transformation photo, I was seriously like kind of hyperventilating, and I'm like, oh dear God, okay, I can do this. All right. Post, and I literally closed the laptop, walked away, and did not come back for probably a couple hours because I was like, I just can't. Like, what if they're all like, I can't believe you're doing this, you suck, there's no change. Like, I don't know. I just had all these things, these fears in my mind, right? But say you do that and then you get like crickets. You don't get negative response, you get crickets. You're like, okay, I just shared my heart. Like, it doesn't have to be a transformation photo, but it can be like, you know, you sharing your heart about what you do as a coach or what you do as a mom or what, I don't know, how you feel about your husband. You share this really vulnerable, beautiful post, and then crickets. No one's responding. You may get a couple likes, like, you know, your husband and a couple coach friends, and you're like, what the actual heck? Like, what the heck? I just poured my heart out like they said I should, and I got crickets. And so the next time you're like, well, maybe I won't share that much because it's kind of deep, and if people aren't going to appreciate it anyway, I'll just preserve myself from that pain or from that potential humiliation or embarrassment. I'll just preserve myself and keep myself in my comfort bubble over here, and just share what I want to share, or just share, you know, just a little bit, but not really let people get into the heart of me. Okay, so that's that. Missing a goal or a deadline. I do this all the time. I miss goals. I put these goals out. I put them public. Like, I'm going to be, you know, 5-star diamond by Summit. I say these things, and then, you know, Summit rolls around and I'm like, okay, just kidding, you know. But the thing is that, like, I push myself forward, but it could easily, like, start, and it has in the past, I'm not going to lie. I put these goals forward. I don't hit them. The most recent one was probably new leadership committee or new leadership council in January. I really wanted to hit that, and I went 2-star in the right amount of time, and then one of my diamonds dropped, and so I lost my rank in the middle of my qualification period to go to this new conference, new leaders conference. And I had, like, told everybody I was going, and then I didn't think it would actually happen, and then I actually got the number, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm actually doing this. And I start reading all this stuff, and I'm like, I've qualified for the free hotel. Like, I am, like, giddy, and I'm like, thank you, Jesus. Like, this is gonna happen. I can't believe it. And I'm already, like, kind of on cloud 9. And then one of my coaches drops rank, and I'm like, and this just brought me down to size. And it really sucked because I watched somebody else who had been a coach less time than me go to the conference in our team. And I was like, this blows. Like, it really sucks. Like, I knew she made less money than me. I knew she, like, just barely hit the qualification just like I did, but it was because of her. She had built up her fiance's account. And so I was like, I have 2 actual diamonds. Like, you know, I was, like, really kind of annoyed by it. But it's easy to start doubting yourself. Well, maybe she just has more leadership than me. Well, maybe I'm not really that great of a leader. Well, maybe, you know, I'm just not really good at this coaching thing, and I should just kind of, like, take a step back, you know? Those are some of the things that started going through my head automatically. Others' thoughts or opinions. Maybe you've had a spouse or friends or family, any number of people say, why are you doing that? Like, you've done so many other things, or, like, that's really not worth your time, or why is that such a big deal to you? Like, they will slowly start putting these things out, and it makes me really sad because honestly, 90% of the time, I think that it has more to do with them than it does you. I've had people say to some of my coaches, luckily not me personally, because I'd probably put them in their place, but say things like, why are you flaunting your body? Or why are you this or that? When that's clearly not their heart. Like, pretty much every single person on this call or in our team, most of them are Christians, if not all. And so I know their heart is never to, like, look at me, you know, like, it's always to help other people. It's to inspire other people. If you wanted attention, you could easily walk out in, like, a triangle bikini top and, like, go to the bank. I'm sure you get lots of attention that way, or walk into Target. Like, people will look at you. If that's what you're wanting, that's how you get it. You don't need to do that online. Like, it's easy to do it any other way. And so letting those thoughts and opinions, that's an easy way to create some doubt. Negative self-talk. I think that's pretty common too. And it comes from the past hurts, perceived failures. I think it comes from the other 3 kind of combined. Hurts and failures, missing a goal, others' thoughts and opinions, and then it starts the cycle of negative self-talk. You start like, well, maybe they are right. Oh, or, you know, I really didn't hit that goal. And so, you know, maybe I'm not very good at this, or, you know, Success Club just looks like it's not in the cards for me this month. You know, I hear all these things and I'm like, shut up. I hear people say things and I'm like, you're talking yourself out of this. Like, I'm literally listening to you talk yourself out of, you know, $1 million opportunity or something that could change your family's life around. And it makes me sad. So how do we overcome these things? I'm going to literally go down this list. Let's see. Past hurts, perceived failures, missing a goal, others' thoughts or opinions, and negative self-talk. Those are the ones I'm going to go over, and I'm going to give you step-by-step things that for me have worked. You may need to find what works for you, but these are things that have worked for me. If you have any other thoughts of like ideas where self-doubt could come in, drop them in the chat box and I'll address them at the end. Okay, so how to overcome self-doubt. When it comes to past hurts and perceived failures, first, acknowledge that it happened. A lot of people like to just kind of push it down deep and they're like, oh, that didn't really happen. It's not that big of a deal. You see this even with, and I'm not trying to be extreme, but like even with abuse cases and stuff like that, people naturally, a tactic for self-preservation is to not notice the hurt. Like if something hurts, we'll just cover it up with something else, whether that's eating, emotional eating, whether it's self-mutilation of some way, whether that's drowning it in alcohol or drugs, whether that's even like drowning it in other things. Like as moms, it's easy to drown our own hurts and pains by pouring everything that we have into our children or into our spouse. You know what I'm saying? Like they become way more important than anything having to do with us. Because if we look at us, there's so many hurts and failures there that we have to deal with, that it's easier to not focus on us. Just bury it. It'll be fine. Wipe away the tears. You're fine. So first, acknowledge that it happened. I think this is paramount. Then, I don't remember. I think it may have been Bonnie Engel. I don't remember. Somebody once said, embrace the suck, and it just kind of stuck with me because that's exactly how it feels. Who was it? Oh, Josh says it's Tony Horton. I don't know, but whoever said it, it kind of stuck with me because every time I'm such a Ruby personality type, like I'm very goal driven. I'm Ruby Emerald. That's my personality gems if you saw that in our team page. So I'm very like goal focused to a point. Like I would rather stay up until 4 a.m. to get something done because then I can check it off my list than wait until the next day and know I have to get up in a couple hours anyway. Like that's just how I am. And then I try to be organized. I like organized systems and stuff like that. I've learned how to manage in chaos because of our travel and our lifestyle. But if it's up to me, I like to have like a routine and a set way of doing things. So I try that, but not always. So when I miss a goal, it feels like a knife to the gut. Like it sucks because I put my goals out there. I'm not ashamed to say, you know, like what I'm shooting for. If somebody asks me for a date or what my current goals are, like I'm going to tell them and there's no problem. Like, and Becca will ask me pointed questions like, hey, so, you know, you said you're shooting for a 5-star. So what are you doing? And I'll tell her. And then she goes, okay, so what are your dates? And I'm like, well, crap, I don't have any. And she's like, well, you need to get some. And I'm like, okay, hold on. Let me think about it. Okay, I'm going to do it by this date and this date because I reverse engineer my goals. So like, I'm just very like, that's the way I am. And I put them out there and I have no problem like committing to them. But then when I don't hit them, I'm going to work to the very last second to try and hit them. I don't get to like the end of the month and think, well, crap, I guess I just won't hit Success Club. No, like I am working until like 11:59. You know, I am like, I'm awake. You can text me. I am there. Like I'm awake and I'm going with it if it's the end of the month and I haven't hit my goals yet. So when I don't hit my goals, so the first time I didn't hit Success Club 5 after hitting 10 or more consistently for every month was last March. Hold on just a second. And Josh was at the time very nonchalant. I was a diamond coach, but I still wasn't making a whole lot of money. You guys can go back and look at my income progression. I was maybe making, I don't know, $500 or $600, $700 a month, something like that. And so I wasn't making like a ton of money. And so my husband saw it more like as, I guess, play money or whatever. Like it wasn't that big of a deal for me not to hit my goals to him. Not that he said you're making me sound like a douche. That's not it. He just didn't see it as being that big of a deal. Like he supported me, but it got to the end of the month and I'm like fretting and starting to freak out, which FYI, if you ever start to freak out, other people can sense that and they don't want to deal with you. Like they don't want to be around you. And they don't want to, buy a challenge pack from you when you're freaking out. So, I was starting to freak out and I was telling him like, meanwhile, Asher he had just started sleeping, but he was still really young. And I'm like, I'm not going to hit it. I'm only at SC6. Like, I'm not going to hit it. And he goes, yeah, but you already hit SC5. Like, you hit your success club goal. And I'm like, no, my goal's 10. And he goes, yeah, but like, you're still going to hit success club. And I'm like, but it's not my goal. Like, it's not the one that I set for myself. And he's like, but what's going to happen? Like, he's very, like, let's bring you back down a little bit. And he's like, what's the worst that's going to happen? Are you going to die? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to die. He goes, okay, then you need to chill out. And I'm like, yes, I do. And then he's like, he's like, you did all you could. You can't make somebody buy a challenge pack. And it's true. And I've told many of you guys that as you guys are freaking out at the end of the month, messaging me. And I'm like, I'll give you every idea that I possibly have. And I go pretty hard when I don't hit my goals. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm like, oh, well, no big deal. But there have been months where like I didn't hit my goal. And the very first time it sucked bad, like really bad. I saw the clock strike midnight and I was just like, like all the air had been sucked out of me. And I pouted a little bit about it. And so I took probably a full day, but this has happened several times and it just kind of depends on what's going on. But, I think I took a full day where I did my posts, but I didn't do any other Beachbody work. I got out of the house. I went and spent some time with my family because my family's my number one priority. And I just kind of got away from everything. And I was like, okay, like embrace the suck. It happened. I really can't do anything about it now. I can just kind of like say, okay, it happened. Now, where do we go from here? Like, what do I do? So I took some time to regroup and relax and focus on myself. I embraced the suckage. And then I kind of made a game plan during that day that I was away. Even though I wasn't doing any Beachbody work in my brain, I was still thinking, okay, so what can I do from here? Like, how can I make sure that that doesn't happen again, and kind of just made a change. The other thing I did was listen to personal development. I know like you guys are probably sick of hearing me say that, but it's true. Like getting on and just listening to some of the old national wake up calls if there's no new ones that you haven't listened to. Or I spent days, like literally it was just on all the time listening to that stuff, or listening to Chalene Johnson's Build Your Tribe podcast because she has some really good stuff in there. But during this time, don't focus so much on trainings. Like, don't focus on, okay, how do I build a like page? Or how do I do this or that? No, focus on personal development, stuff that's going to feed your brain, feed your soul. Listen to really good preachers and messages that even if you've heard them in the past, if it spoke to you then, like, re-listen to it, listen to it and let it kind of absorb in. Then change your mindset. Because the first thing we want to say is, well, I failed. Like, that's the label we want to stick on ourselves. Well, that was failure. Like, that sucked.
Actually, what did you do?
Oh, he just tore that book. Yeah, you might want to take it away from him. Can you pause? Josh plays video games on team call nights. Uh-oh. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Did you rip it? No. Oh, no. Oh no. Go get that to Dada. Okay. Okay. I'm not throwing it away. It's fine. change your mindset. So Thomas Edison went through, it's like notorious. You can read about it online. I'm sure you guys, many of you have heard it, but he went through 10,000 prototypes. 10,000, like 100 sounds like a lot. 1,000 sounds like a lot. I can't even imagine 10,000 prototypes of the light bulb before he found one that actually worked. 10,000 times he like tweaked something or changed something, or, you know, like, okay, that didn't work, let's try something else, like constantly changing it 10,000 different times. And somebody asked him, so how did you feel when you failed at making the light bulb for, 10,000 times? And he goes, I didn't fail making a light bulb 10,000 times. I found 10,000 ways that didn't work. So it was all about his perspective and his mindset. Because if I was working on something 10,000 different times, I'd be like, all right, forget it. It's not meant to be. We'll live by the fire. Like, screw it, But it was all about his mentality. It wasn't like, oh, another failure, like racking up the tally marks. No, it was, okay, well, we found another way that doesn't work. Soon, this is getting us that much closer to the one that does. And it's the whole concept of, I don't have one next to me, but the no tracker. Every time you mark off a no, like it should kind of make you a little bit excited, because it means that you're that much closer to a yes. Because it's the statistics are 1 in every 20 are going to say yes to you. So if you have 20 no's, then that means you're likely to get a yes here soon. And if you got 2 yeses within those 20 no's, then know that you're probably going to get a lot more no's before you get to your next yes. Does that make sense? Like, because it's going to even out. Love bug, go get your own water. Here, not up. So it's a mind shift switch. Your failures do not define you. A lot of times we used to, like I said, we slap on that label like failure, or not a leader or follower, or I don't know, one of any number of things. No, shh, it's time to be quiet. Mommy. Shh, time to be quiet. Any number of labels. But those things aren't what defines you. As children of the King, who defines you and your self-worth and what you are, who you really are and who you're going to be? Is it your life situations and circumstances, or is it who he says you are? And look through the word and see some of the promises he's given you. And I promise you, they're not failure and follower and, okay, love, you have to be quiet or you have to go to daddy. Okay. No. Sorry, they're usually in bed, I swear. But those things don't define you. So redefine yourself. Stop looking back and start looking towards the future. Josh said it in the car and I kind of laughed at him and he's like, what? But I'm sure you guys have heard this one too, that the windshield is so much bigger than the rear view mirror because you're supposed to continue looking forward, not constantly at the past. So think about it this way. Do you really want to still be living life in 5 years from now? Do you still want to be living life the same place that you are now? And I'm not talking about physically. I'm not talking about your house. I'm talking about emotionally, spiritually. Okay. Sorry, guys. And I'm sorry if you just saw his stuff. I don't know what's going on. Josh, he has to go. I'm sorry, but he's like flipping out over here. Love you. Hugs and kisses. Night, night. Love you. Mwah. Love you. Oh, sad baby. Love you. You're fine. Love you. You're fine. Love you. Good night. Okay. Do you still want to be living your life in the same place 5 years from now that you are right now? The only way to change that is to stop living your life the same way, with those same thought patterns, with those same things, because they're just holding you down. They're holding you into one place. Sorry, this was supposed to be a short call and I just got long-winded. The next one, missing a goal. Again, embrace the suck. Like, that's just what it is. Embrace it. Like, you failed. Okay, great. So I didn't do so great at this goal. I missed Success Club 5, or I missed Success Starters, or I missed, I don't know, a weight goal that you set for yourself. Doesn't matter what it is. Embrace the suck. Okay, it happens. That's part of acknowledging what happened. Then do something for you. Again, this for me was like going to the park with my family, or sometimes I just get away. Like I need a night by myself. And so I'm like, I'm just going to go to the bookstore and wander around for a little bit. Like I just need to like, bring it down. And I do something that's completely unrelated. Sometimes I'll even have friends over. It sounds crazy because I have to clean my house. I don't know if you guys are like me, but I wait until somebody's coming over and then I'm like, oh dear God, I got to clean everything. So I clean my house and I feel like more exhausted by the time they come over than I was before. But having people come over and play games and just do something that's completely not Beachbody related, it just kind of clears my mind, you know, and then I can come back in a more positive space and like take a real look at it. So then you take your reflective look back. So I had people over the night before. I chilled out. I didn't do anything Beachbody that night. Comes the next morning. I don't wait for the weekend. I don't like wait a long period of time. Okay. But like a few hours, whatever you need. Then I come back the next day and I take a reflective look back. Okay. So what were some of the wins? The thing we like want to do is focus on the negative, right? We want to focus on where we went wrong, what happened, what didn't go right. But let's stop and start focusing on the wins. Like, what did you do? Like, how did you move forward? What went well in the process? And I think that will help like bring the whole situation down. If it was a level 8, like all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay. I mean, like, it's not life or death. I did some good things. I set myself up really nicely for this next month. You know, if you are pushing really hard at the end of one month, you usually set yourself up really nicely for the next month, those kinds of things. So, okay, I set myself up really nicely. I have lots of great conversations, so many potentials, like all of these things. What are some things that you could have done differently? Maybe not wait until the end of the month. If it's a weight goal, like maybe, you know, not have so many treat meals, make sure you're meal planning and actually sticking to it. Like, what could you have done differently that could have given you a different outcome? And then, was your goal realistic? And this, I am not trying to give you an out. Like, I am kind of one of those, you set realistic, smart goals to begin with, and then you don't have to deal with this. But sometimes, you know, if you're like, I'm a brand new coach, I want to be 15-star diamond in 3 months. Like, okay, let's bring it back down a few notches. I'm not telling you it's impossible, but I kind of am. Like, let's just, you know, like set some realistic goals that are attainable, not so that you can baby yourself. I want them to be challenging, because it's the whole, you know, when you shoot for the moon, you land amongst the stars. Like, no matter what, you're pushing yourself forward. That's why there's wins when you miss a goal. But I'm sorry, my allergies are still killing me. Okay. But step back and ask yourself, was my goal really realistic? Like, was it like a crazy outlandish goal? Then awesome. That means that I actually did something really cool. So like last year when I was like, I want to be 5-star by the end of the year, and I ended up being 2-star, I wasn't that upset about it, because I was like, man, I still accomplished something really stinking awesome. Like, it was kind of a big, crazy goal for me. So like going from a big, crazy goal and like getting pretty close to it, I was like, that's fantastic. Like, I set myself up for a great year in 2016. So I wasn't that upset. Then create a new action plan. Take the wins and make the plan better. Learn from what you did, and then set new goals. Make sure they're attainable, realistic goals, but not babying yourself. Babying yourself doesn't get you anywhere. What is it? I think it's in 1 Corinthians where it talks about like, it's talking about the word, but like, that when you were a child, you ate and you did things in the childish ways, but once you became a man, you fed yourself like more like meat, and you challenged yourself more. So it's the same idea, like continue to challenge yourself, or you're not going to push and grow. You're just kind of going to sit in the same spot. And then that's the whole, in 5 years, you look back and you're like, what the heck? I'm doing the same thing. And then the last thing is do not compare yourself to others. I know it's so much easier said than done, but as soon as I find myself doing it, I used to wallow in it like a lot. I'd hear somebody celebrate a victory and I'd just sit there for like days, or like every time I saw their picture, I'd be like, dang it, But I've learned that when I do that, it turns me into a negative funnel and it doesn't get me where I want to go. So now I just put on the blinders. I'm like, put on the blinders, baby. Let's get to work. All right. Like, don't look left or right. Focus on what I need to do and get done. How to overcome self-doubt when it comes to others' thoughts or opinions. I'm going to share with you guys some personal stories, but I want to share what I learned. And I'm not going to give names, but some of you guys are going to figure it out anyway, because it is what it is. We used to work in a church, and I had lots of opinions and thoughts given to me from other people. Some were placed above me. And it's really hard when you hear comments come like, for whatever reason, me and my mom, like, I've always had this very, like, we know we have very different views. So when she says something to me, I kind of like let it roll off. I wrote it down on Saturday, and it was like, be the duck, like let things just roll off your back. When water drops onto their feathers, it just rolls off. And so with my mom, I've always been the duck. Like, it doesn't bother me. Whatever she says, like, just kind of rolls off. It takes a lot to like actually pierce down through those feathers and get to me when it comes to her. However, anybody who's placed an authority over me, even if it were Becca, like, she's not necessarily an authority, but being my mentoring coach, like, I would automatically, if she were to say something, I'd be like, oh my gosh, like the end of the world. I'm very, my love languages are very much words of affirmation is a huge one for me, but that can go the opposite way too. So if somebody who's an authority critiques me, it can kind of be the end of the world if I let it. It's very easy for me to do that. And so if I ever hear anybody who's kind of above me, or who I perceive to be above me, or as a mentor, say something in a critical way, it automatically kind of pierces my heart. So one day Josh comes home and he tells me some stuff that was said about my business and what I do online and all of those things. And it was back in March when I didn't hit Success Club. So it was like kind of a March of last year. It was kind of like this, I hit Success Club, sorry, not my goal of 10. It was kind of like this colliding of two, in my mind, terrible things happening at once within my business. And it crippled me for a while. I let it cripple me. Because every post that I posted, I started thinking, well, what will so-and-so think? And, are they going to view this as, this or that? Or like, how are they going to see this? Or what if this? And like, I just let all these thoughts and opinions of other people kind of get to me. And then I had somebody recently start telling me that what I do, what did he say?
You're ruining relationships.
Oh yeah, that I was ruining relationships, and thank you. I was ruining relationships, and I was only in it for money. And if I really wanted to help people, then I would do it for free. But the last time I checked, that's a charity and not a business. Like, I can still have the heart of wanting to help somebody, but still want to feed my family. Like, there's a difference there. But had that person said this to me a year ago, I would have come to them with a very different, that would have shook me. Like, I would have been like, oh my gosh, like, what do they think? Like, do they actually think that? So a few things to think about. One, do they actually think that? Sometimes they say things kind of off the cuff. Josh used to say things every once in a while, like off the cuff. And I'd be like, do you not support me in my business? Like, do you not take me seriously? But it wasn't that. What it was is that I actually like had these fears and worries in my head, and I was kind of displacing them on him. And so when he would say something, I'd automatically jump to the worst conclusion instead of like, wait, he's on my side. He benefits too. Like, let's bring it back down a few notches, However, when you're talking about your parents or talking about other people, like you have to start thinking like, do they actually think that way? Because they may just be saying something off the cuff, not really thinking about it. Or you're putting words in their mouth, really. Like, they're not saying anything to you, and so you're like, oh, they don't even support me because they won't even talk about it. Or every time I talk about it, they, turn away. But that could actually be that they're kind of embarrassed of themselves and they don't want to talk about it because they're going to feel convicted or feel like, gosh, she's doing something pretty amazing, and like, what am I doing with my life? Like, they're comparing themselves. So 1, do they actually think whatever you're thinking they're thinking? Okay. 2, if they're saying something to you, especially if it's written down, like in a text or a message, it's really easy to start reading it in a negative connotation. Like, I try to have all these conversations in person or over the phone, because then you can hear tone of voice and the way things are said. It's that whole, your mom probably said, it's not what you said, but how you said it. My mom said that all the time growing up. But that's exactly it. Like, you can start reading it in a way that they didn't actually mean it. And so, what is their heart behind their words? Like, think about the person and who you know them to be. Think about the relationship that they have with you and what they are actually meaning behind it. Is it that they care for you and like, what are you doing with this business? Like, they legit are worried for you because they don't know. Like, maybe you just need to clue them in and talk about it. So, what are you doing with this business? Is it legit? Is it a scam? Like, what's going on? Or, you've lost a lot of weight. You're not getting too thin, right? Like, you're eating. And so it's not that they're trying to critique you, but what is their actual heart behind it? Are they just worried about you, and they care about you and they love you? And then the third question is, do their opinions pay your bills? This is like my biggest one that I think about all the time. Like, does this person's opinion pay my bills? Nope. Last time I checked, their opinions don't pay for anything. So I'm just going to go ahead and disregard that. Like, if it didn't fall into they actually care about me and we need to talk, then it's okay. I'm just going to go ahead and disregard that. Like, I don't need that kind of negativity in my life, or I don't need that phrase out there. And so you have 2 actions. If it's somebody that you really love and care about and their heart is just to find out what's actually going on, then you can talk about it, but not through Messenger. Talk on the phone or in person, like, talk about it with real words. Or you can bless and release them. And sometimes it hurts because sometimes this is even people that are close to you and they're just not feeling it. And they may genuinely care, but they just keep bringing it up, and you've tried talking to them and they're still like, no, I really don't think you should do this. And they're like,
it's 9 o'clock.
It's 9 o'clock, guys. They're just kind of placing all this negativity into your life. If that's the case, bless and release. Like, you can block them on Facebook and they won't know. You can hide them from your notifications or your posts. There's lots of things that you can do. If you have this situation, let me know. I'll help walk you through it. But bless and release them. And I do this a lot. Like, there's been people even at our church that I've had to bless and release. Like, they came to me, they talked, I tried to talk to them like a normal person. They didn't want to. And so I prayed over them. I was like, Lord, help them to either understand or get past this, because this is not what the body of Christ does. And I just bless and release. Like, I don't need to engage in the conversation anymore. I delete the comment. It's done. Because again, going back to my call, a month or so ago, like, my Facebook is a dictatorship, not a democracy. Like, they don't have rights to post whatever they want on my page. I have the rights to delete whatever I want to. So if they're going to be negative, then I'm going to delete it and we can talk about it. And if they don't want to talk about it, then I'm going to bless and release them and let them go along their way, because their opinions don't pay my bills. And then show them how wrong they were. The first time I heard this, I was like, man, that's such a bad attitude to have. But it's kind of true. Like, sometimes you just need to go out there and show them. And then they come around and they're like, well, dang, she did it. Like, she did lose all that weight. And look, a year later, she's keeping it off. Maybe she can help me too. So, like, just show them how wrong they were. Like, do your thing, do you, and then they'll either come around or they won't. But either way, you blessed, you released, and you're happy. Everybody's happy. How to overcome self-doubt. Last thing, negative self-talk. So personal development, same thing. Target your negativity. Find out whatever your weaknesses are. Like if one of your weaknesses for me is comparison. I've learned that that's one of my things. I just need to get past. How do I do that? By finding personal development that is specifically related to my perceived areas of weakness. So that would be for me comparison. But it could be any number of things. It could be in leadership. Like if you keep telling yourself that you're not a good leader, then maybe you need to read some leadership books, because the way you become a good leader is by doing and by learning. That's what happens. And then develops positive self-talk. So daily affirmations in your weak areas aloud. I know that sounds crazy. The first time I heard that, I was like, that is too frou-frou for me. I am not doing that. But I found that it's true. A lot of times I found myself saying dumb things to myself internally. I didn't say them out loud, but I'd be like, oh, that's so dumb. Or, oh, you're so stupid. Like not in a mean way, but it just kind of came out. And I think it's common for us to do in our society. And so I literally started to stop, because I heard this thing that there's scientific proof that your brain connects more with what you say than just the thoughts going through your head, which kind of aligns with the Bible, go figure, when in James he talks about there being power in your words. And so the thoughts naturally become words, and when they become words, like there's power in them. You're speaking that over your life, right? Not all name it, claim it, but there's a reason why God changed Abram's name to Abraham, because every time Sarah said, Abraham, would you like some coffee? She was saying, Father of many nations, would you like some coffee? So she was naming that promise over God over and over. Okay, that's a side tangent. But the whole fact of the matter is your words have power. So if I would like literally out loud say, you're not stupid, you're really smart. And then it turned into every time I said something, even in my head, out loud, no matter where I was. So sometimes it was under my breath, because I'd be like at Aldi and I'm like, you're really smart and you don't have problems with sugar. So I was like the crazy lady mumbling, and then Kai's like, what? Nothing. Or it sounds crazy, but it even came with, every time I get frustrated with Kai and I'd start thinking, you're a bad mom, stop being a bad mom. And I would literally have to say, I'm a good mom. I love my children. I had to say those things out loud. And it helps connect, there's a brain connection there. And then your thought patterns start to change. And little by little, I didn't have to say them near as often. Now there are different things that I have to say, because that's part of my weakness. I just have these things pop up. And another thing is Josh talked about the 2-for-1 rule. This is something that we had overseas when we worked with college interns. And we had this rule because a lot of times, you're with your friends, you're laughing and joking, and you just say something that is kind of funny, but it's kind of mean. And you didn't necessarily mean it mean, but it kind of was. And it may hurt them. It may hit a soft spot. You don't know what other people's weaknesses are, right? And so every time, even if we were all laughing and joking, if you said something negative, then whoever caught it would say 2-for-1 rule. And then, so everybody was sitting there waiting, and you had to say 2 nice things about them to negate your one negative thing that you said about them. And it couldn't be I like your hair and your dress is pretty. It had to be legit things about them as a person. And so I start implementing this rule with yourself. So instead of just saying the opposite, if I said I was stupid, I'd tell myself, no, you're really smart. Or if I said you're a bad mom, it turned into, no, I'm a good mom and I love my children fiercely. I had to do 2 things for my one negative thing that I said, if that makes sense. So I was feeding myself extra. It wasn't just staying in the same spot, take somebody back and then go back forward. No, I was taking back and then taking 2 steps. So I was gaining a step, basically, if that makes sense. Hope that makes sense. You guys know I don't like to end a call without action items. Golly, my throat's killing me. So a few things. Identify the weaker areas where you're tempted with self-doubt. This could be in so many areas. It does not have to just be with coaching. It can be, with motherhood. It could be through your marriage. It could be through your job, your other job that you're working. It could be like through, for me, like even when I was dealing with infertility, like that I was less of a woman because my body wouldn't let me conceive. Like it can literally be in any area, because the fact of the matter is that we're one person. We're not divided into all these different roles. Like it all affects our one soul, our one person. So identify whatever areas that you're tempted with self-doubt. Then pick a personal development book or audio or podcast or whatever that's specifically tailored to that area, and then start reading it immediately or listening to it or whatever. Pray for strength and growth in that area, and then take specific actions to get out of your comfort zone related to that area. So if you're saying, I'm not a leader, okay, great. So how can you step into leadership? What's one way that you'd feel a little uncomfortable? Like, don't do something like, oh, I'm really great at teaching preschool, so I'll do that. No, like do something that's a little bit out of your comfort zone, right? And take specific actions related to those areas, because the only way we get out of the fear, self-doubt cycle is by action, doing, and then winning, like achieving what we set out to do. And then changing our mindset when we don't achieve what we set out to do. So stop sharing.